If you're here with us on World Insight, you're just in time for our last story today. The southeast region of Australia is one of the world's 3 most fire-prone areas. It has dry climate and naturally combustible vegetation, which includes all rich eucalyptus forests. The latest series of wildfires to hit Australia is its deadliest on record, and many say that climate change is also to blame.
The 7th of February 2009 will now be remembered as one of the darkest days in Australia's peacetime history.
Hell and all its fury has visited the people of southeastern Australia. As of Thursday, 181 people have been confirmed dead. At least 1,000 homes and their irreplaceable contents, such as family memories, have been destroyed.
And all their best friends are dead. Their kids are dead. And I played golf with a 12-year-old kid on Saturday, and he's not here anymore. It's devastating.
Bushfires and tropical floods are a normal part of Australian life and help balance the natural ecology. But after years of drought and with record high temperatures in the country in recent days, combined with hot winds, conditions were ripe for a major disaster. At the beginning of this month, Adelaide, the capital of South Australia state, matched its longest heatwave in a century with 6 consecutive days exceeding 40 Celsius.
It is not appropriate to link any particular weather or climate event definitively to global warming. But if these sorts of extreme weather events occur much more rapidly, that will be a symptom of climate change.
Scientists predict that global warming could bring temperature rises as high as 6 degrees centigrade for Australia this century if global emissions continue unabated. This would result in less rainfall in South Australia and more in the semi-tropical north. As if to demonstrate that, the state of Queensland in the north has experienced widespread flooding after rainfall of historical proportions. More than 60% of Queensland has been affected in the worst floods for more than 30 years. The damage bill is around $70 million. In the northern hemisphere, China is experiencing its worst drought in 5 decades. The absence of rain since last November has affected 37,000 square miles, or 43% of the winter wheat crops. And the United Kingdom has experienced its coldest and snowiest winter for 30 years. More than 12 centimeters of snow fell in just a few hours in the west, and hours of continuous rain flooded roads in other parts of the country. In western and central France, about 600,000 homes are without power after a serious storm. Across the Atlantic Ocean, a winter storm in the United States has been blamed for at least 23 deaths and caused widespread power failures. Are these the results of climate change?
To look at the trend, as I said, from year to year, the trend linked to global warming is the order of 2% of a degree. And from day to day you can have 10 degrees difference. So that's, I think, a clear illustration of the difference between variability and change.
As the globe warms, the frequency of extreme climate events are expected to increase. A coalition of environmental groups analyzed weather data from around the US and found that the frequency of extreme rainfall has increased 24% from 1948 to 2006. Worldwide, natural disasters have increased 4-fold in 2 decades. The droughts and floods come as politicians gear up to negotiate a new global deal to combat climate change. To date, worldwide emissions of greenhouse gases have risen roughly 50% since 1970. In 1997, a protocol was agreed at a UN conference in Kyoto, Japan. The protocol requires 36 industrial nations to cut greenhouse gas emissions by at least 5% from 1990 levels by 2012. The protocol is due to expire in 2012. In December 2009, a United Nations meeting in Copenhagen, Denmark, will decide on a new deal. Questions remain over the new US government's position on the meeting, which is seen as crucial. As the world's biggest carbon dioxide emitter, the US opposed the Kyoto Protocol in 2001.
We expect to see a new deal that clarifies the commitments of developed countries to reduce their emissions, by setting ambitious midterm targets with credible baselines, and advance on the issue of financing the mitigation and adaptation needs of developing nations. It mainly depends on the developed countries' position.
But officials are optimistic to reach the deal.
First, because we cannot fail. The cost to the future is too high. Second, the number of influential voices in civil society, investment, business and science are demanding exactly those changes that I've described. So it is by no means a question of legislating against the wind. Climate change is clearly in the mainstream. And third, because in the climate change process, the similarities between national positions are starting to outweigh the differences between national positions.
As Australian survivors pick out their belongings from the mass, many want to rebuild their houses on their original sites. Hope rises from the ashes.